don't marry a woman just because she's done partying. You see this a lot where a woman will be in college from 18 to 22 getting her degree, focusing on her education, work, and then maybe 25 to 35 it becomes the realization of fertility and looks declining. So she looks for the husband, the provider, the good father figure, the security net going forward for the rest of her life. You don't want to be the guy that's just the provider. You don't want to be the guy that's just the fallback plan, the security net, the guy where she's just done with her fun years, her party phase, and you're just the provisioner that comes in now that she's ready to settle down. You don't want to be that guy. And it's not to say that every woman is going to follow this track or every man is going to follow this track, but you got to understand the age of the woman you're dealing with, her mindset on things, where she comes from, and you got to understand your role in how you're playing that. It's very important to understand those things, because when a woman just done partying, when she just like realizes that her time is up, that she's hitting the wall, she's gonna change her demeanor, her mood, her approach to things. So if that's changing, you got to understand how your role is changing. You can't be the guy that's just been working your entire 20s and then now you're 30 and you just assume that any girl that's showing you affection is in love with you and wants to go the distance. You got to understand what it means to have a good job. You got to understand what it means to have money. You got to understand what it means to be attractive or be good looking, or certain positive qualities that she's going to attribute to you. Because had you gone for that commitment or that marriage or that relationship when the both of you were 18, would she have reciprocated? You have to be very aware of this stuff, because it really affects people in the long term when they're not thinking. You might see a guy that he's not very attractive, not very sociable, doesn't have much charisma, never had much success with women in his entire life, and so now he's 30 and he like finally has a good job. So any woman that talks to him or shows him affection or turns on the charm, he thinks he's falling in love or that she's in love with him. So he gets into this marriage, and now she can divorce him, take half the assets, still sleep with the pool guy, do whatever, go to girls' night out, or girls' trip to Vegas, girls' trip to Cabo. When you know what that is, so you can't fall into this trap. And this isn't to say that women are bad or men are bad or women are good or men are good. It's just how life is. It's human nature. It's female nature. Hypergamy. It's what someone's looking for in someone else at a particular point in their life. So you don't want to be the guy that's just saving the girl who's done partying. You don't want to be the guy that just saves the girl that realizes that she's on the decline and she needs to find somebody. Women have that biological clock where they can't have a kid forever. Men can have a kid for almost forever. Men don't have that time constraint. So you got to understand that these women from like the age range of like 25 to 35, realizing that that biological clock is ticking to have a kid and to have a healthy offspring, she has to do it younger than older. So you got to understand the time constraint that's placed on her and how that's affecting her decisions, how that's affecting her demeanor, how that's affecting her approach with men. So you don't want to get caught up in a situation that isn't very genuine. If she's not giving you that commitment at like 18 years old, then don't just assume that at 28, that now that she's ready to settle down, don't just assume that that's going to work out. Don't just assume that you're not going to have negative repercussions from that. Really take into account what's going on. And like I said, it doesn't make women bad. It's not like saying like women are gold diggers. No, not at all. I think a woman should go for a guy that can provide. I think a woman should go with who she wants to be with. No woman wants to be with a guy that can't work or can't do anything or doesn't take care of himself. She should have a certain standard. It's obvious, it's necessary, and I wouldn't call like a woman a gold digger for that, but this is human nature. If she wants someone to take care of her or take care of the kids or support the family going forward, you have to understand as a man what that perception is of you. So you can't just assume that because she's 28 now, because she's past her prime, because she's hitting the wall, you can't just assume that that's this relationship that's going to work out in your favor, because they do have that biological clock. They do have that time constraint. If she goes through life and doesn't have a kid and gets to mid 30s, late 30s and doesn't have a kid, then she's not going to have a kid in life. And that affects what she can do, because she might just have to work a job her whole life, or own cats, or be in childless relationships, or be with guys that don't really want to go the distance with her, because a lot of guys, as a man, they want to pass their seed, their genes, onto the next generation. And so a woman that can't provide that is going to be looked at differently. So women do have that time constraint. So don't be this guy that's just saving the girl who's just done partying. She's just past her party years. She's done sleeping around. She's done playing the field. You don't want to be the savior. You don't want to be the security net. You don't want to be the backup plan. You don't want to be the guy that just comes in and just takes care of everything after years of her doing whatever. You got to be sharper than that. You got to understand your sexual market value, and you got to go into the world with a mindset of truth and not illusion. You got to really see things for how they are and not get duped into something that's going to have negative effects for you long term.